Barack Obama give a speech to the nation, and things have got so bad in our country and in their country and in basically most countries in politics.
Free networks, yeah.
We aren't actually even at the point now where the president asks for airtime. Barack Obama was so convinced that the networks would stay with McDreamy and The Big Bang Theory.
And The Biggest Loser.
And The Biggest Loser.
Yeah. Well, that, I think, sums everything up.
Yeah, fair enough. And they were so worried about that they didn't even put in a formal request to actually have the president's speech carried. First of all, let's just go back to the idea that they're the public airwaves. I know that's a novel concept people
forget. The free networks, right? Anybody can get that.
So that's problem number one. Problem number two is a kind of a creeping problem that comes into this. And that is this for me. And this was sort of a rant that I went on earlier with you.
Yeah.
And the rundown, which is I'm really tired of people not caring about politics. And that's one part of my anger.
Sure.
But the second part of my anger is sort of why this ties into this. I'm tired of being seen as somebody who is radical or somebody who's,
for wanting to watch this speech.
Right.
Yes. Nothing else.
Like that you think that, you know what? Like people are like, I don't want to watch this. It's annoying.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It matters. Like it's not. And so, listen, this argument is such a hard argument because so many of most of my generation's never watching. Like they wouldn't even understand the idea of like, why would I be like, wait, why am I watching something at a certain time at a certain place and like what's cutting into my watch time here?
But that's the live feed, right? I mean, the fact behind it is a live speech. It's like a sports event that you're actually watching, right? You actually watch the Lakers play, right? I mean, live. You'd actually watch, it's Thanksgiving. You'd watch the Cowboys play, right? Live.
Yeah, I mean, it's so depressing that you don't have this interest. That's what's really bothering me is politics is getting to a place where it's seen as a fringe sport. It's not something that the average person has to care about or should care about. 5 years ago, when people would be at a party or something and we would be standing around and somebody asked me my opinion knowing what I do about politics, there used to be sort of a look that people would got when they kind of knew I could kind of like tell they didn't know maybe who the vice president was, or they had never heard of who the Speaker of the House was in Canada, or whatever it was. And they kind of had that sheepish look of like, oh, I kind of feel dumb. Now, when I know, I get a look of like,
okay, crazy guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk away from
And it's not because I'm crazy. I swear to God, this is like normal cocktail party. They don't know I actually am crazy. They're just like, and I see it from other people, and I have conversations about this with friends who are in politics.
Who are political.
Or like just in media, I should say. And it's like this idea that
here we are sitting at the dinner table, or here we are sitting at a bar. Why are we discussing politics?
Or why would you talk about it? Like it's seen as a dirty word. It always has had that connotation. Like people don't talk about sex and politics and all that. But now it feels like it's not just don't talk about it. It's like you're kind of a weirdo. Like it's more socially acceptable now to dress up as Darth Vader in your mid-30s than to admit that you may actually pay attention to the midterms.
Yes.
Like that's where we're at now. Yeah. And listen, I don't want to get all like,
but here's the thing, right? Yeah. You had mentioned this earlier, and I wanted to say this. A friend of mine who's an accountant actually brought this up. I mean, he has the political knowledge similar to mine. Nothing extraordinary. And the fact behind it is, again, he also brought up the same point that you've brought up many times before. He just feels that he's the smartest person when you're having political conversations
and you get, like, really
in the room.
Afraid of that.
And he's like, I am genuinely afraid.
Right.
And I am saddened by our current state. I am petrified because this is a vulnerable position in which we are, as a society, existing. And I have to agree with that assessment. It's just scary that people who are actually wanting to look at you look at that speech or wanting to talk about that speech are immediately considered.
But also, it's important to get primary source.
Yeah.
Like, it's important just to watch a speech without the spin, without the spin room, without the just like, here's the president giving an address. Yeah. Okay, I saw that. Now back to it. And it's literally like they already dumb it down and
they've got lower thirds running and
like,
tickers running and all that
down
stuff.
To the 100 words immediately, right? Like, so it's already as compact as it can be for you, and then you're still like, nah, I'll watch the sound bites tomorrow on the news.
Truth at your convenience.